Hey ladies, welcome to the Flip This Chick community where we help women to flip the script to get fit, establish healthy habits that stick, and make fitness fun so the next phase of life can be the best phase of life. And I welcome you to our interview series where I chat with many experts in women's health who really can help us understand more about menopause and how we can choose real natural healthy choices to get us through this transition feeling great. So as someone who believes in functional health and medicine and a marathon runner who has used a lot of different methods in order for prevention of injury, recovery, and getting to that finish line, and now to just use it for life so that I can feel my best, I am thrilled to introduce to you this next interview, who is Colleen Ford. She is a graduate of Palmer College. She's board certified in Florida and founded Adjust Your Life Chiropractic in Lakewood Ranch, where I met her, and she has gotten me through probably single-handedly to several of my marathons. So I am grateful for her. And she is honestly the most amazing, fearless woman I've ever known. She does ice climbing, scuba diving, skiing, and so much more. And I am thrilled to introduce her so that she can share with us her ideas and suggestions for how we can be feeling our best as we keep moving forward. So ladies, may I introduce Dr. Colleen Ford. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad that you could be here. It is a thrill for me to share some of your expertise with women when I've had for several years, 7 years now, had you at my side to fix and help me through anything that I may need. So first, can you start us off by kind of talking about a little bit about at this phase in perimenopause or menopause, how things can help us more if we're in motion and chiropractic care and that.
The benefits of chiropractic is just to keep you moving as you get older too. You still want to be active and be able to then play with your grandkids and do things where you don't have those restrictions anymore. Also, everybody gets so worried about hip replacements, knee replacements, those types of things. There are ways you can prevent it, and it's by not wearing and tearing on certain areas. Why does somebody need one hip replaced and not the other? Your hips are the same age. So where would that come from? It's not a hereditary thing. It's a wear and tear that you've been beating up on one side for a long period of time where the other one hasn't been doing as much. So chiropractic, we look at the biomechanics and the function, the movement. How are you moving? How are you sitting? How are you getting up out of a chair? Movement is important. Motion is lotion. So the movement keeps you going. So sedentary activities. So chiropractic, not only, yes, we put bones into place, but we're analyzing where they need to go, why they need to go there. We're correcting posture, position, but then also for myself, what I do is a lot of functional medicine. So a lot of chiropractors, because we not only want to deal with bone, we want to deal with how is the bone made, what is beneficial for it, what is deficient that people need. So we get into not just, everybody does the same thing and all of those fun TikTok videos if everybody's being cracked the same way as there's a method behind why chiropractic is so important for keeping you moving.
Yeah, that it is amazing. And to point out, often it's not only your back that needs to be adjusted. I know for myself, you've adjusted my knees and my ankles. It's amazing how one shift or difference somewhere in your structure can affect everything. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, especially for knees. Knees are meant to go forward backwards. It's a hinge joint. When you put a little bit of side wobble into it, a little bit is okay, but if it's a constant where one side has that wobble over and over again, is where people end up giving themselves injuries. Injuries come from you using a joint abnormally, which then tears the muscles and ligaments around it is because you're straining the one side and the other side is becoming loose and weak. So it tears it.
Yeah. Yeah, and amazing. And I remember that we've utilized KT tape to sometimes hold that. I'm not using the right terminology, I'm sure, but hold the ligaments where they need to be until then they get strong enough to hold themselves. So that's been such remarkable therapy for me. And, I'm sure, not everybody runs marathons, so we don't need to talk about it as that type of therapy. But just if you're having trouble with your knees or your hips, that type of real support beyond the adjustment helps between there and the next time you get there, and gradually strengthens your muscles so that they stay there, because I don't have to use that anymore. It's amazing.
Yeah, bone goes where muscle pulls it. So if you're using your muscles consistently and you're not using them equally, the bone, think a tug of war, the bone is in the middle. You have a muscle on each side. If one side's stronger, that's where it's going to go. If the other side's stronger, that's where it's going to go. And that's where people can just lean over and boom, their back goes out, is because the muscles bend tighter. It just won. It just pulled it out of place, and then that's where flare up starts.
Right.
So muscle balance is important, and that's the beginning. That's why physical therapy is its own thing too. Is it's not one or the other that you should go to. You should go to both. We put the bone in place, they strengthen around it to keep it strong.
Right. Yeah. That's so important. So let's get to a few of the details about menopause itself and care. Can you share with us the significance of what we need to be doing differently at this point in our lives, and how we can help to feel better and reduce that joint inflammation?
Yes, with menopause, you have a huge drop and increase in different hormones. You're changing your body's biomechanics, which is your different levels of things. So your hormones are up and down, but that also affects everything else. And in this stage, vitamin D is very, very beneficial. The importance of vitamin D in your diet is not only, now they're finding so much research for heart and brain in that, but the actual builders of your bone and your core. So most people have enough calcium in their diet. Think of your body as a house. Think of calcium as material. Vitamin D is that builder. You need the worker. You need somebody to take that material and put it to build that house. So if you don't have enough vitamin D to take the material and to build it, your body is going to start to get weak. And that's where osteoporosis comes into play. So that's what osteoporosis is you don't have the vitamin D vitamin D that you need. You're deficient in it. So your body starts to get weaker, where you have enough calcium. It's just you need those workers to put it into where it's supposed to.
So more sunshine. So more sunshine.
Yeah. Where do you get vitamin D? There's a whole number of very high-end brands now, just because vitamin D has D3 is the main one that people talk about. But just even for brain function and heart function and that, it's becoming more and more prevalent how important it is. Yes, there's a toxic level, but it's like way up there. People worry about it. Getting to a toxic level. You have to really take a lot of vitamin D to actually get toxic. But sunshine has it. So even just going outside 15, 20 minutes a day with sun exposure before you put SPF or anything on, so your body can absorb some of that, is important.
Yeah. Great suggestion. And tell us then, you mentioned osteoporosis. What's the difference between osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, and how do we handle them differently? Because you start to
So you have, which is what bone scans are important for. You have a bone density that your bones have the strength to it, like we were talking about with putting enough calcium into it. Osteoporosis, it usually starts as your bones are normal. You then get to osteopenia, and then it's osteoporosis. That's a deficiency in your vitamin D and your bone that it's starting to get brittle. So all you got to do is step out of bed and you can break a hip with osteoporosis. Osteoarthritis is wear and tear. It's you've been using a joint incorrectly for a long, long period of time, and your body starts to actually, on each side of that joint, grow towards itself, which is what a bone spur is, because it eventually is going to try to fuse itself. So most of the time your body, for especially bone spurs in your back, will build them in decent places that it's not pinching on nerves. It's the bad ones that are like in your foot. If you are starting to get bone spurs in your foot, it means you're using your foot improperly, which means that you're landing on it, walking on it incorrectly. So your body's like, what's happening? And it starts throwing bone there, trying to strengthen it. Same thing with osteoarthritis, is your body doesn't understand why it's weak in that area. So it starts to throw more bone in that area to try to strengthen it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I know in the Flip the Stick community, I always work with my clients to say, you know, first get to a running store or walking store where they actually watch how you walk to determine if you're supinating or pronating, or you have a neutral walk, so that you're wearing the shoe you need to in order to prevent that type of, you know, prolonged repetition in the wrong way, you know, because it's life changing. If you're landing wrong, it goes all the way up your spine, right? If your foot's not hitting the ground right. So it's so important, because of course we want to get more active. Bodies in motion stay in motion. But if you're going in the wrong motion, there's nothing good about that, you know.
No, it's a domino effect too, because then kind of chasing, where did it come from? Is it the hip? Is it the ankle? Is it the knee? Like what started that imbalance? The majority of the time, it's poor posture. It's people sit in front of a computer when they're on the couch, they're leaning on, they have their spot on the couch, they have their spot on a desk or in a chair where they're leaning, and they're starting to give their spine a curvature, making one hip higher than the other. And just say you're watching TV for a couple hours, you're stretching one side, you're cramping the other. And like I said, the stronger side's going to win, that it's going to pull it out of place. And then you're going to have this wobble when you're walking, and you don't know where it came from, where you've been sitting in the position. That's where it came from.
And driving too, I bet, causes
and
that.
Driving,
people have to drive a lot, you know. Yeah, be sure you notice how you're sitting in your car, especially for a long trip. Yeah, that's crazy. You know, and then also, you know, that reminds me, you mentioned that, you know, whenever you do have an appointment with a chiropractor, you're looking at more than just what we say when we get there. You're noticing us as we come in the room, right? And really seeing our structure and what's probably wrong that we might not even know. Tell us about that.
I don't tell my patients that I do it, but I'll call them from the waiting room and I have them get up and walk to me, but I'm watching. How are they getting out of the chair? Are they straining? Can they pop right up? When they are standing, are they leaning forward, or are they actually standing straight? And then I have them pass me in the doorway and they start walking down the hall. And then I'm watching, how are their knees moving? How are their hips moving? Do they have a hard lean to the side? And then it goes from there as they go face down, and then I'm evaluating where is it coming from.
Wow. Yeah. What amazing methods, And like I said, it really has been amazing for me to have that experience. I ran for 2 years with what I thought was a bad knee. And, you know, I'll never forget the day that I came to you and you adjusted my knee, and I walked out of your office and right back in to say, this is the first time in 2 years I walked across a room without pain. Thank you. And it was remarkable. I just thought, and so many people, women do, like, we think, oh, this is just how my life is now. It doesn't have to be like that. If you have ailments, or you have joint issues, or you have different things changing as it will happen, you can look for solutions. You can ask questions. That's why we're here, you know, is to really help with ideas of how to flip the script and stay fit and healthy and in motion. So this next phase of life can be our best phase. We should be playing with grandkids and having a good time and not stressing out. And thank you for being one who helps us do that. I am personally grateful, and I'm sure everyone else who walks into your office is too. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. And I will be seeing you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for all you do.
Take care.